So today we're going to look at building a complete application with Webparts360. Yep. Okay. So by complete solution, what we mean is we're going to build a project portfolio, a project workspace, an expense approval workflow, reporting, and at the same time provide for security control. So when we talk about a dashboard, it looks kind of similar, but if you look carefully, this particular system has a multi-column KPI. SharePoint, as you know, only supports a single column, right? The other thing that you realize is that the menu says view project or view edit selected project. It doesn't say view item, edit item, which is what SharePoint is. It's very difficult to change the context, the caption in a menu. And more importantly, with this Gantt view is a month view, not only daily, which is the only format for SharePoint to provide. Now, when we look at the detail of the project workspace, it allows you to drill down where you show only details for a selected project. And you will have the menu, which also shows you only things for that selected project. And yet, at the same time, it will be able to consolidate all your expense requests across all projects. Yep. Now, what happened is during the project submission process, the system will provide function like field validation and related lookups, okay? And during the approval process, you realize that there is a column permission control such that only project managers will be able to access certain fields within the system. And of course, you will be able to call and activate certain actions. Now, upon completion of the workflow, at any time in the point of the workflow, you are able to see exactly the flow of the transaction, including round trips. SharePoint, as you know, is a single step. You can't go round trip. So this can go multiple times around the process. And for the reporting bits, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be joining value from two tables, the actual expenses and the budget, the project budgeted value, and also provide with a drill tool into the project workspace. Now, that is in terms of the functionality. But at the same time, when you look at the security control, you look at this, the project managers can access much more functionality, whereas the project team member have less function to be able to access, right? Now, once you deliver the solution, we also includes good practice means the system must be documented with an ER diagram. It must be documented with a process flow, and all your process must be auditable, okay? And also it gives you a map in terms of your system where everything is. Yeah. So the final delivery is a system that works and also enable you to change and to extend it. So the magic question is, how long is this going to take you given any environment that you choose? And we're going to challenge you to show you how it can be done within 30 minutes. So the first way to start to build an application is actually to create a new subsite. Now, in the interest of time, I am going to skip the process of building and defining the database, which is just done by building custom lists. So I'm going to just call this project under Rico, and I would have created, oops. I'm going to call it a project demo, and I'm going to create this particular subsite. So at this stage, what is essentially happening is that we are using a normal SharePoint site template, recreating a new site subsite, and pre-populating with all the content of this particular process. And you will see that we have all the document library. Now, as you know, all this comes without any data. I mean, comes without any user information. I will just come in and edit this so that we can set the administrator to be the project manager for this project. Okay, and I can save that. Now, this is great. It's a great way SharePoint provides you with the ability to manage data. But when you look at a list like expenses, you will realize that I can essentially come and approve my own expenses. And that makes it not suitable for doing a transaction, because you have absolutely no control who can access what. And that's one of the fundamental functionality of SharePoint, of Webparts360, is to provide you with a column permission control, right? Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use my site actions, fire up Webparts App Studio to turn this sub-site that we have already created using SharePoint into a solution site. Okay, and this is my project expense tracking solution. So one of the key things that we always tell our customers is to document your solution. And this is going to be for project management. Yep. And there are a lot of functionality which controls all the attribute within the system. We also have some advanced function. For instance, we have version controls for web parts, check-in, check-out, and even the ability to provide an audit log and to lock away solution pages and images. Okay, so we create this, and essentially it now takes control of this sub-site and turn this into a Webparts 360 solution framework. So after we have created this, you realize it gives us a summary of everything that is inside this particular solution. And we can add to all these resources. For example, by default, it gives you a default page. I can always add a new page, say project workspace. Yeah. And it will be able to give me the ability to do that. So this is my project workspace category, and that's like a module, and I can create this. So I have that particular system, right? Now at the same time, if I look at my default page, this could be my program management site, and that becomes another module that I have, right? So we have a lot of all of the artifacts within the system is here. So let's start with the list, and I'm preparing the environment for this system. We will now, since we've built this list in SharePoint, we will link all this list from SharePoint into the system, and these are all the lists that we have defined previously. Okay, and we will link, and this will become part of the system. Now notice this is quite similar to SharePoint, except it's organized in alphabetical order. But what we really want to do is to uncover the relationship in this list, and that's by using an ER diagram. Using this ER diagram, we know that the core of our system is the projects, and this projects is managed by department, and is managed by department, and it has categories. So is of category. It would have expenses, and has expenses, and the expenses is of a certain type. Notice how it automatically describes this whole solution, and you can use this feature to actually look into every single field of this system. Yeah, we call this our project organization ER diagram, and save, and then we are done. So that essentially creates the whole system.